Hi, I'm Susan Peterson, and you are listening to Started from the Bottom, an entrepreneur-focused podcast on getting started. Here you will find all the mindset tools and resources you need to just get started. Today, I'm talking with my good friend, Natalie Madsen. Natalie is the actor, director, producer, and writer behind Studio C and JK Studios. Natalie is super smart and really funny. I love talking with her, and I know you are going to love this episode. We talk about how creating is supposed to be easy, how to chase down the things you feel called to do, and how dumb luck is. Here's Natalie. Natalie.
Hi.
Welcome to Started from the Bottom.
I'm so happy to be here. Now we're here.
Is
everyone going to say that on this podcast?
Well, you know
Started
what?
from the bottom. Now we're here.
Now we're here. It is hard to get everyone on. Everyone's busy. Everyone's entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
It's like the middle of November right now. So I'm so grateful that you took time out of your day to come on.
Oh, well, I have a really different business. The film industry kind of shuts down during the holidays. I just wrapped a movie last week. So I was busy until last week. And now the rest of this year is I'm good, man.
Oh, it's kind of the finance industry.
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of.
Well, there's a race to the
Q4 stuff.
Yeah, but mostly they're out of the office all of December. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to read your bio.
Oh gosh. Here we go.
Does it make you nervous?
No. For my bio, I just Googled my bio to see what was on the internet.
Oh my gosh, so smart.
So let's see what it is.
So smart. Okay, Natalie Madsen is an actor, writer, producer, and director. She is best known for 8 years on the sketch comedy show Studio C, where she was an original cast member and writer. She has since co-founded JK Studios, a creative house and production company that produces TV shows, web series, and feature films. She has 3 children, 1 husband, and a slightly concerning caffeine addiction.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
What?
Accurate.
How much caffeine do you drink a day? How many milligrams?
Okay. I recently read somewhere that 400 is that's an unhealthy amount. So I'm trying to stick to under that.
You think it's over that?
I think it was at one point, and I'm getting better and better.
Okay, wait, real quick, and then we'll jump into all this. But
no.
Talk me through your caffeine usage for the day.
I have a perk every morning.
Okay,
that's 150 right out the
gate.
Boom.
Yep.
Probably 4 or 5 mornings a week. I actually teach fitness classes.
Okay,
I really like it.
Yeah,
and that's so pre-workout, another 150. Boom, boom.
So
we're already at 300 before 9 a.m., folks.
Sometimes you're at 300 before 9 a.m.
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
Not every day, but I'm, more often than not.
Okay.
Susan, it's concerning.
I'm concerned about your heart. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then I used to always have a Diet Coke in the afternoon. So here we go. We're already at 400.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't do the Diet Coke. I'm switched, Perk has caffeine free now. I'm working on it.
Okay, good job.
Thank you.
You just have to start thinking about your heart health. So.
Oh, I know. Yeah. It's not good. I know it's not, but also, not a lot of sleep.
I give up caffeine probably every Friday afternoon. I'm done.
Yeah, it's I can't do this anymore.
It's every night you give up sugar when you're going to bed with a stomachache.
Well, the problem was I would do a full I'd go 6 months where I was a lot of caffeine every day, and then I'd be I need to do a reset because I'm not feeling it anymore. Mm-hmm. And I'd take a couple of weeks off of any caffeine, and then I'd kind of start the process over. But now I can't even bring myself to do those 2 weeks. Of a reset. Okay. Anyway, we're discussing caffeine too much, but yeah, it's not great. It's not great,
But I would say moms run on caffeine. Most moms.
A little. Yeah.
Yeah. When you're running a business and you have small children.
Yeah. I mean, you just it's survival mode, man.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. How did you get started?
Okay.
In comedy, in writing.
This is a great question because I feel like I have 3 different answers of things that I've started.
Let's go through them.
So bear with me. I first got started in comedy in general when I moved to Provo, Utah to start college at BYU, little 18-year-old Natalie. I moved into the dorms and my sister was already there. She was a couple of years ahead of me in school. And I moved in, and I remember the first Friday night I was there, I probably moved in on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And it was Friday night, and I was talking to my sister Erica, and I was like, what do you want to do? And she was like, oh, there's auditions for this Divine Comedy group. You should go and audition. And I'm just always yeah, man. I'm always just down. And so I was like, sure. And in 30 minutes, I just came up with some sort of audition I could do. I roped a bunch of girls from my floor to come with me, and we just walked over and I auditioned. It just sounded like a fun thing to do on a Friday night. And I got in by like miracle of miracles, and I did that sketch group for 4 years. And so that's really where it started. And when I joined Divine Comedy, it existed for a decade before I started, and it still exists today. Like, it's a BYU institution. And when I started, we would always say, like, wouldn't this be fun to like get paid to do this? But yeah, right. Like, people would do it as like a fun extracurricular thing. And then they go off and be doctors or lawyers or like get a real job.
Yeah.
And so even when I was in it, I did it for all 4 years of my college experience. And it never was like, this is going to turn into something.
Yeah.
Like, I was getting my degree in theater ed. I was going to be a teacher. And in fact, I was a teacher for a year after I graduated before Studio C started up. So that was like the first, like, getting started was just like, this sounds fun. And I didn't overthink it, which I think is pretty key. I tend to overthink things sometimes. So I always kind of go back to that of like, it just felt like a fun thing to try. And that's really where it started. And then, you know, for 4 years, we would write, produce, market. We did everything for those shows. And when we first started, we were like begging people to come. And by my senior year, we would sell out tickets in 5 minutes. Like, we really grew in those
amazing.
4 years. And it really taught us, like, we hit the pavement. We put flyers out. We tried to hone our comedy skills. We would have test shows and edit until we felt really solid about our monthly shows. And it took up a lot of my life. But again, I never thought it would turn into like a career.
Right.
Never. And like, all of us have different, like, none of us majored really in what we ended up doing. We all have like random, like, engineering and psychology and like biology. Like, we all have degrees in such different things. But we all ended up kind of here.
So there was not one theater kid among you guys.
I was the most theater kid because I was theater education.
Okay.
And then Mal and Jeremy did go to film school, but they wanted to do like serious film. You know what I mean?
Right.
Anyway, so this just kind of shaped it. And while we were in college, here's starting again, number 2. While we were in college, my senior year, we put together like this proposal to BYU TV for a show, like a TV show of what we were doing in Divine Comedy. And it was like, hard pass. Like, we worked so hard on this proposal, and they were like, yeah, we don't do this. Oh. And it was so hard. It was like, you know, it's like, but look at all these people, and all these people are buying tickets, and people seem to like it. And they're like, yeah, no, we don't really do that. Okay. And so I graduate. Some people in our group now are still in school. They're still doing it. And about a year after I graduate, they get a new director of content. They get him to come to a show, and he says, yeah, okay, we'll like capture. They didn't even call it a pilot. I don't remember. I think they just called it a test capture. Like, they weren't even like, we're not even going to give resources to make this a pilot kind of a thing.
Right.
So that was kind of a new start too. I was out of school. I was pregnant with my first kid, and my friends say, hey, they're finally going to like film something. Do you want to come and film it? And so we filmed like a test when I was super early pregnant. I was really sick. I remember throwing up and then like going on stage, kind of that kind of thing.
Perfect. Yeah.
And we filmed some stuff, and that was kind of a restart too, because this is just like, I heard it from someone else who heard it from someone else, but basically the like board that makes the decisions watched our test pilot, and they said, I don't get it, but I think my grandkids are going to like it. So we'll film like 8 episodes.
For Studio C. Okay.
And at the time we called it Common Room because we love Harry Potter. And that's a bad name for a TV show. I'm glad it turned into Studio C.
Yes, Studio C is much better.
Yeah. Well, and we called it Studio C because there's 3 studios in that building. There's a Studio A, B, and C, and we filmed in C. So that's why it's Studio C.
Very Tonight Show of you guys.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, it's great. Anyway, but when we filmed those like 8 episodes, like the next step, we started filming when my first child was 2 weeks old.
Oh my God.
And again, it was one of those moments where it was like, this feels like something I need to do. And I just kind of knew, like, gut check, if I don't join now, I'm going to miss the boat. So like my husband and I just decided, like, we're going to go for this. It was so hard.
Yeah.
I like first kid, didn't know what I was doing. Everyone else in the group, like no one else had kids, just like they were like barely starting to get married. I got married super young. I had my baby super young. So like, I felt so like, how do I fit in here? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And between the capture and shooting those 8 episodes, I was demoted from like main cast member to featured, which is like weird, but happens.
Yeah.
Basically, they decided there were 6 of us in that capture, and they decided moving forward with the first season of a show, they wanted just 4 people to focus on. Makes sense from a marketing standpoint. And now that I like look at it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But like my hormonal postpartum self was like, I'm terrible. And it was
I'm flabby.
Yes, exactly. Or, you know, it was just like, it was really hard. It was really hard. But it was one of those things, again, I just knew like, this feels so fun that I get to like joke around with my friends. And like I always say, it's true. I made less in the first 2 seasons than I paid my babysitter, like worked at a loss, because I just knew this was so fun.
Right.
I didn't really care about the result. It just felt like this is exciting to me, like in my soul, to create this way.
Yeah.
And so let's just figure it out. And we did. And then, of course, that kind of snowballed. So that was like another, like, how did we get started? It's like that the Studio C getting started was like a lot of failure, a lot of like awkward, how do we work? And then I wasn't brought on for a full-time cast member until season 5.
Really?
We would do 2 seasons a year, but still that was about 2 or 3 years of like this awkward, like I'm not invited to the writer's room, but I have ideas, but I feel like I'm in a different place than other people. And as a mom working there, that's a whole other thing. You know what I mean? Like just treated really differently. And anyway, it was a lot of like growing pains in those beginning years. It really was.
For sure. I want to just touch on, 2 things in there. Number one, like you didn't make enough money to pay your babysitter.
Yeah.
Your husband was working full time though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
it was like, it was just one of those things where it's like,
this is an investment.
It like barely, it was like, I pay my babysitter more than I made because I felt strongly about it.
Yeah.
But in my mind, this is what sets me, like, I'm not a smart businesswoman like you, because in my mind, I'm not thinking, well, this will eventually be a good paycheck. I was mainly just thinking I feel really called to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like this podcast, I'm paying for it all out of my pocket.
Right. Yeah.
Like
working at a loss.
Yeah, I own Freshly Picked, but we're not taking Freshly Picked money, which I think probably people think that like I'm paying for this with Freshly Picked money, but literally all the equipment, my producer,
Peterson investment.
Yeah, everything, the editor, it's all being paid for. Christian and I are putting the money into it just because
Good for you.
Same thing. Like I feel like this is something that I know I need to do or I want to do.
And you just don't know where it's going to go.
No, I don't know.
You really never know.
And I don't really care if I ever make a ton of money. I want it to be break even at some point.
Sure, of course. That would be nice. That'd be really nice.
But I think like as you're starting out, and that's a lot of our audience, they're like starting out.
Right.
You have to get scrappy around that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you just kind of do. Like you figure it out, you make it work. Even now that we do a lot of, there's just juggling between childcare and work responsibilities, just constant communication, working with my partner on like how to just sort it all out. But we really learned how to do that on the early days of Studio C, for sure.
Right, with a 2-week-old.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was like, it is one of those times I look back and I'm just like, oh, I'm just so grateful for that version of Natalie. Like she stuck with it.
Yeah. She was dumb enough that she didn't know.
She was dumb enough.
Because if it was your second kid, you would have been like, no
way.
I can't do that.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
I think you're probably right.
I think that's a lot of luck comes from being too dumb to know.
I think
that there's like
awesome.
That it's not going to be good for you.
It's like good dumb.
Yeah. It's good
like
dumb.
Like a naive kind of thing.
That's why I call it dumb luck.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. And then sorry, this is a really long answer to
I love it.
Only one question.
I love it.
It'd be too long. I would say the third, like, how did we get started was when we started JK Studios. Yeah. That's kind of phase 3 as of right now. And that was something where we were at Studio C for a long time and we loved our time there. We wanted to grow. We wanted to make more. We pitched sitcoms. We pitched movies. It was a no thanks from the network. And so we eventually just got to this point where we were like, we've been here 8 years on a TV show is a long time. We love working together, but we also want to like pursue individual projects and together projects. And how can we kind of facilitate this? And we started JK Studios in 2018, like end of 2018. 2019, we put out 3 different web series with all these brand partners. It was just like go from the get go. And it was one of those things where like, man, we were dumb enough to do that.
Right.
There was so like, you just don't know what you don't know. And so there was so much we didn't know when we were learning and growing. And then pandemic hit and had to do a major shift of how we fund projects. And now we've kind of turned into this. It's a really good balance. I feel like the pandemic was a good way to like bring up important values in the company and just really look at it and be like, okay, we're kind of spreading ourselves really thin here. We're all working really hard. What do we really want to do? And it kind of turned into now we're more of like a development creative house, and we partner with other production companies and investment groups to like invest in more traditional like distribution ways. So we just wrapped our first feature film. It's supposed to be out next summer.
Wow. What's it called?
Right now it's called Go West.
Okay.
I don't know what it'll be called next summer.
And it's a period, like it's a,
so
how would you say that? It's not a period piece because that indicates like it's Europe, right?
No, it's like, yeah, it's a time period piece. It's set back in like the late 1800s on the Oregon Trail.
Oh, I love it.
And basically this idea came from, we all love Monty Python. We're a sketch group and Monty Python was a sketch group, and they made Holy Grail, which is like a really, really famous movie. And I was watching it one day and I was like, this would be fun. Like the format of that movie of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, it's basically just a bunch of sketches. And there's a really thin plot line tying it all together. Like, it's kind of about King Arthur getting the Holy Grail, but it's also like there's a witch trial and there's a crazy guy at a troll bridge. Like, there's sketches in there. And so I came to the group and I was like, hey, what if we came up with a cheap way to just connect a bunch of sketches that can be within the same world? And then we thought, well, what can we do for cheap? We're in Utah, Pioneer. There's hand carts and Pioneer houses everywhere. Uh-huh. And that's kind of what we did. So we wrote it in a month. We wrote it really fast. And that's another thing I'll say about getting started is like, sometimes if ideas feel really laborsome and it's taking forever to get everybody on board, maybe it's not the right idea. I think that's one lesson I've really learned where like, I've been trying to force this sitcom idea we have, and I've been trying to force, but this movie, I just kind of pitched it like I just did to you of like, this is what I'm thinking. And we met once a week for 4 weeks. Everybody brought Wild West sketches. And then my writing partners, Mallory and Whitney and we got an Airbnb for the weekend and we threaded it all together with a plot and we had a script. It just came so easily.
Yeah.
That's one lesson I've already learned from this project is like, not to say everything's going to be so easy all the time, but there is something about that ease that comes with a really good idea. It's like a gut. There's something simple and easy about it. Like, don't always be looking for that conflict all the time. I think I used to think like, well, success means you work really hard and it's going to be hard every single step of the way. And sometimes the easier things, the things that flow a little better is like what you're meant to pursue.
I have found that when I find the right person to help me build something, that's when things just kind of fall into place.
Yeah.
Totally. Like I've done that with my mastermind. Like Brooke and I will meet like 3 times before the mastermind.
Yeah.
And we can pull it off.
It's amazing.
And you do a lot of work up front, but same thing with your writing partners.
Yes.
You guys been working together for what?
I've been writing with them since I'm 18 and I'm 33.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of years of cashing in.
Yeah.
But it came so much easier than our last project. And I just like, I was seriously just thinking about that last week. I'm like, I should note this, that like, it didn't feel like the biggest struggle in the world to get this thing done.
Right.
Which is maybe a good thing.
Do you feel like growing up, what makes you funny? Some people are like, oh, my trauma makes me funny.
Oh, totally.
Really?
Well, okay. I shouldn't say that. I have the best family.
Right.
But my story is always like my dad has a great sense of humor, but he's not like a sympathy laugher.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
like he's
you
not
have
gonna
to really be funny.
He's not gonna do like a like if you're trying. Yeah, like you gotta earn that laugh. And he has a great big laugh when it comes. And I remember one time, I must have been really little, like 7 or 8, and we were playing like a board game. And it was one of those board games where there's like a cartoon. It was probably like the New Yorker or something. There's a cartoon and you write the caption. And the picture I remember was Santa on trial in like a courtroom. And the caption I wrote was something like, I know I'm in the rapping business, but I did not kill Tupac. And I think I'm like 8 or 9. Like, I don't even think I really understood what I was saying.
That's really good.
And my dad laughed really hard. And I think I've just been like chasing that high ever since. I'm just trying to make my dad laugh.
Oh,
that's really what I think it is.
I actually love that.
And he's not like the most loving, giving dad. Like, I don't want it to sound like I'm just trying to impress this cold-hearted man.
Trying to earn his love.
But he has a really smart sense of humor, and he's not going to laugh at anything.
Okay.
And so I'm always trying to impress like that kind of person.
I love it. I actually, I do, if there's someone who's like pretty stoic, I'm like, I will work overtime.
Yes, that's exactly
that
right.
Work. Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yep. That's my little Enneagram 2 poking out of there. I just want you to like me.
And then what do you think, like, I was just watching an Office clip today. It's like Kelly said, why are you the way that you are?
Why are you the way that you are? What a great question.
What do you think? Were you like entrepreneurial when you were younger?
I mean, I was definitely that cousin that was like, let's put together a show.
Okay.
I was always that annoying kid.
Theater education to like what you're doing now, it looks the same, but it's very different.
It's so different. And I think that kind of like entrepreneur side of my brain kind of came out when I realized like, oh, if I want to make what I want to make, I got to do this myself. Like I got to learn.
Yeah.
I got to learn the business of distribution. I got to learn what like business plans look like for TV shows and movies. Like there's such a business behind everything that I just kind of realized I didn't want to just pursue acting and just wait for auditions to come to me. I wanted more control of what I was doing. And if you want more control, you just got to learn more.
Yeah.
And I've always loved learning more and taking on new challenges and stuff. So I've now done like every role there is. I've executive produced, directed, edited. Like I've done everything mainly because I just want to learn and I want to be able to control what I make.
So what drives you? Do you feel like it is control? Is it creativity?
Probably.
Is it economics?
I mean, growth makes me excited.
Okay.
And I think like, you know, if you whittle down your why, I always think of like the kids that come up to me and say, hey, we watched your stuff while my sister was sitting getting her chemo. Or like, hey, this helped me through, you know, my parents' really bad divorce as a kid and I watched you all the time and you felt like my friends. Like that kind of feeling. I just want that to be more in the world. I just want people to be able to laugh more. I want people to feel more like belonging and like you're in this like friend group and we love you and we just want to laugh. I just think the world needs more of it. And so for me, learning all that business stuff helps me spread that more.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So it's not, I mean, of course, being able to like pay the bills and be able, you know, of course you want to live comfortably.
Yeah.
So it's not to say I don't want to do that, but I think at the end of the day, it really is. I think there needs to be more laughter in the world, like genuine laughter.
Yeah. My kids were obsessed with Studio C.
Your kids are the cutest.
Oh,
I love your kids. They're always so nice to my kids.
And I remember the first time we ran into you and Hattie almost could not form together two words.
That's silly.
She was like, so like, you know her, Mom.
She's so cute. Well, and I was thinking, I'm sorry, we're just going on a million tangents.
Yeah.
I was thinking when I was driving here, I was like, when did I meet Susan?
I know,
like
I can't think of.
And I'll tell you my first memory of you, and you weren't even there.
Okay.
But it was during my early seasons of Studio C. It was maybe season 2 or 3. I had 1, maybe 2 kids. Again, I was the only one with kids. Our producer, like no one else had kids. And I felt very like alone isn't the right word, but like no one really got what was happening in my life, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
Like they didn't get how sleep deprived I was and how like my body was changing so much. And it's just such a vulnerable time when you have little kids. And I remember I got to the office for a meeting and you had sent a bunch of stuff for us. And I felt so seen as like a mom in a place where I just had never really felt seen. And I remember that really well of like, these are so cute. Who sent this?
Yeah, because Jeremy and Stacy had been at my office.
Yeah. I'm sure that's right.
Yeah.
And you just sent over a bunch of stuff, which is like, so Susan.
Yeah.
You just like never leave Susan's presence without like arms full of stuff.
First hit's free.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
My theory.
But like, it just made me, I'm so grateful for you because I feel like you still do that. You help women in vulnerable situations.
Oh my gosh, that's so nice.
Like having a baby is a really vulnerable place to be. Starting a business is it's like having a baby all over again.
Yes.
You just like, you know how to find those vulnerable women and you just say, it's okay, come along.
I think where I really have a lot of empathy for women is that change that comes.
Yeah.
Because like there's so many times in your life where you think, okay, like think about my daughter just got her driver's license.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Can't believe she's that old.
Right. And she's like, I know she's thinking, oh, my life, I'm going to be a different person when I start driving.
Yeah.
But no, she's the same jerk. She's just now getting me eggs at the store.
Yeah.
Like,
she can now run errands.
Yeah.
For you.
She's like picking up her brother from like school. And then there's like, you graduate from high school and you're like, I'm going to be different.
Right.
Or like, how many times did you start like a new semester and you're like, this is a semester, I'm going to be different.
Totally.
But there's like one specific time in a woman's life, and it's when you have a baby, you go in one person into the hospital, you come out a totally different person.
Yes.
Like literally in the blink of an eye. All your priorities have shifted. Everything you want out of life has shifted. Yeah. Like
your hormones are different.
Different.
You're physically different. Yeah.
You've never fallen in love so quickly. Like all these things. And I think too, when you start a business, it's very similar.
Yeah.
Like you go in thinking you're going to be one person, you come out the other side totally different.
That's totally right.
And with change comes insecurity.
Yeah.
Even when you're doing something beautiful and amazing and growing and creating, and so I feel like if I can ever be like, hey, you're not alone. Hey, we're in this together. Cause like even this year, I have some friends that are like, oh, we're down in revenue. I'm like, everyone's down in revenue this year. They're like, oh, it's not me. I'm not doing anything wrong. No, everyone is. Like, it's just how it's going across the board. Everyone I talk to. So I think like whenever I see a new mom, like, breastfeeding, I'm like, do you need to drink water?
Yeah, totally. Like, do you need a snack? You probably haven't eaten in a while.
Yeah. Or like anytime I see a new business owner, it's just like, you're doing a good job. And how can I support you? Yeah.
It's so true. I think we get in our head of like, well, these people seem to be doing so well. This must just be a me thing or a me problem. And it's like, of course it's not.
No.
It never is.
No. And the trenches are the trenches.
The trenches are the trenches.
Yeah.
Totally.
And if you're in the trenches, you're in the trenches and it sucks a lot of the time. But then you like get a pop up and you're like, oh, cool. Look what I'm building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've learned this even with, we were on a show on NBC, like a comedy competition. Yes. And it was such an interesting experience because I'm on the soundstage like NBC. It has all the funding in the world. There's a huge team. It's like all these people. It's still, nobody knew what was going on. And I was like, oh, this is just it. Like, this is just what film production is. Yeah. It's like, you can throw more money at it. It's still chaos.
Yeah.
And it honestly was so strangely calming to me. I think it's that feeling of like, oh, okay, so it's not just us being like scrappy bootstrap. Let's get this thing done. Like NBC's doing it too.
Yeah. And your guys is probably maybe even a little more organized because the budget's smaller.
Right. And like we know our team better.
Yes.
So we know how to, we have like a shorthand with each other and stuff. You might be right.
Right.
But it was such like an eye-opening experience to be like, oh, okay.
I feel like that when I go to my friends who are running like big billion-dollar companies and they don't like, no one knows what they're doing.
I know. It's just really true.
No one does.
Everyone's just guessing. It's really true.
And doing their best guess. And I mean, of course, like accountants and there's people that know what they're doing. But if you're in sales or creative, like it's moving so fast.
So fast. All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
What is the scrappiest thing you guys have done?
Oh my gosh. Everything. I'll say this. Before Studio C, it was like the summer before Studio C aired. We booked, I don't know if this is scrappiest, it's maybe saddest, but we did a show at this theater up in American Fork and they booked us to come as just a live performance. And this was the summer before I think Studio C like aired. And there were 4 people in the audience and 2 of them were my in-laws.
What happened?
And the theater was called the Apollo. And we still to this day will say, remember the Apollo. It's like a little motto that we have of like, hey, we can never get too big for our britches. Remember the Apollo? Yeah. All of us were there. And there were 4 people that bought a ticket.
Well, it's like on the precipice of like, something big is right there.
We hoped. Yeah. But I remember like going home from that and being like, oh, never mind. Maybe no one's going to watch. You know, like you just don't know. You don't know in the moment. It's easy to look back and be like, oh, that's funny. Okay. But at the time I remember feeling like, uh-oh.
How'd you guys not get discouraged from that? Your comedy. So you just laugh.
I mean,
off?
We laugh. And I think about this all the time. I'm forever grateful for this. I basically have like 9 other siblings that have gone through everything with me. Mm. So like, yeah, we could have, 100 million views on a video But they're still the same people I met when I was 18 years old.
And you still have the Apollo.
And we still have the Apollo. Remember the Apollo? Like, remember that? Like, it could always be worse. It could always, you know what I mean? Like,
well, it reminds me
But you know what? I will say about the Apollo, sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
We laughed so much during that show. Like, we had the best time. Because we were like, this is ridiculous.
The stakes were so low.
Because this theater, we were like, we're not going to do the show, right? Like, let's give these people their money back. And they're like, no, they paid for a show. And we were like, okay. And we just like, we're dying the whole time. It was so funny.
It reminds me of when Beyonce used to do like state fairs.
Oh, I know.
Like
it's like, can you
Child.
imagine her doing state fairs?
No.
But she did. I mean, everybody starts somewhere.
Start
at the bottom.
Yeah, you have to pay your dues.
That's right.
Yeah.
Start at the bottom. Now we're here.
Now we're here.
Here. Wherever here is might also be a different bottom, but it's going to be fine.
Okay,
nowhere to go but up. Nowhere to go but up.
What is one lesson that you learned early on in your career that's like still true today?
Oh, what a great question. I would say if you feel like called or excited to do it, you should pursue it. Because you just don't know.
Even if and especially if it does not make sense on paper.
Yeah, I think so. And of course, like that's going to look different for everyone. But I think like being in tune with that, like, does it make me want to get out of bed in the morning? Does it excite me?
Mm-hmm.
Just follow it. And we had no clue where this would go.
Right.
It really was just like, this sounds fun. This is a fun thing to do in college, which turned into like, we just finished a feature film together. And I never in 1,000 years would have believed you if you told me that as a 20-year-old in college with these people. I would have been like, yeah, right. That's insane. There's no way we could pull that off. And we just did. So you just don't know. You really don't know where things are going to lead. If you feel called to it, just pursue it.
I love that advice. Okay, so then what is some advice that you would give young Natalie?
Oh, honey, I'd give her a big, long hug. Bless young little Natalie.
I know.
I would tell her good job.
Oh, I love that.
I would tell her great job, actually. Like, good job. You're sticking with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to get teary.
Why?
I don't know. I hadn't really thought about like what I would say to myself.
Yeah.
Of just like, you're smarter and more savvy than you think.
Don't cry, please. I might cry. I actually can't cry because of my Zoloft.
I'm a sympathy crier. So if you started crying, I would cry.
So I can't. My Zoloft makes it so I can't. I have little to no emotion, which I love.
That's amazing. No, I probably need that. I saw an interview with Kristen Bell once on Ellen where she was like, I am always like at a 9 emotionally. Like I'm always on the cusp of crying, either happy or sad. And I was like, oh, that's like, oh, you're so sweet. But I was like, oh, that's like me. I'm just always right there. But yeah, young Natalie, I would say, good job. Speak up.
Oh, I love that. Why?
I feel like for a long time I thought, well, I don't know enough to weigh in on this opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? No one knows enough to weigh in on that opinion. Like when you're in meetings with a bunch of men and older people than you that are saying this is what needs to happen with your show and your things that you're creating, just ask questions and speak up because everyone is probably asking the same question you are in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to be the one that's like, this could be a stupid question, but because it's usually a smart one.
Yeah. Don't actually preface it with this could be a stupid question.
Yeah.
A lot of times
I wish I had more.
Can you explain that to me?
Yes.
The way that you understand it.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
I would give myself that advice because I feel like I was just so, I did not feel empowered to speak for years and years. And now I'm like bossing everybody around. And I wish I would have started that sooner.
I also feel like some women don't look at asking questions as actually speaking up. But if you have a question, I promise you, like 8 other people in the room have the same question.
You're totally right.
And so if you don't ask the question, then who's going to? Mm-hmm. And then we're all doing something we actually don't really know what we're doing.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I also feel like those people that do ask those questions, everybody feels like, oh, they're so smart to ask that.
Yes. Which
is like the opposite of how you feel internally. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to ask what this means.
Yes.
Or what this term is or, whatever it is.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say speak up sooner.
When I first started doing board meetings, they were like, when do you want to have your first board meeting? And I was like, oh, well, when do people usually have board meetings? And so they kind of like helped me. And then literally I get off the phone and I'm Googling, what do you do in a board meeting?
What do you do? What's a board meeting agenda?
Exactly.
What do we talk about?
And then I called my friends. I'm like, can you send me some decks so I can know how to like make a deck up? I had no idea.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like, unless you like really studied it in school, you just don't know until you do it.
I didn't even go to school.
You're just not going to learn things until you just do it. You don't know what you don't know, and so you might as well do stuff.
Yes, and my friend Brooke always says, failure is feedback.
Oh, great.
And if you're not getting it right, who cares? You're learning something.
Matt, who's in our group, his like creative mantra is just fail fast.
So like
if a joke's going to bomb, just like say it. And then if there's no laugh, great. Cross it out. Next one. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just fail fast.
Yeah. Don't get too attached to stuff ever. Okay.
Failure is great.
What legacy are you trying to build?
Oh, these are like too deep. Honestly, I feel like I just want people to see what I've made and feel lighter.
Oh, I love that.
So I would love for my kids and my grandkids to be able to watch what I've made and still feel proud of it. And honestly, like my kids right now, it's so strange. They're 10, 8, and 5 right now. And they're really into Studio C. Like it just kind of happens.
It's like the perfect demo.
They watch it at school, I think. Like they do it in like indoor recess or something. And so like I have not forced anything on them, but like I'll come home or I'll come downstairs and they've got Studio C on. And that feeling of like being able to watch that with my kids and like, you know, you kind of forget. We made like 800 sketches. And so I forget about some of them and I'm like, man, this was actually like, this is still holding up. And we made this 7 years ago, you know, that kind of legacy I feel really proud of. So I like the idea that like content lives longer than you do and it can help spread joy, hopefully for years and years to come.
I love that. But you do play it when they sleep, so then they want to watch it while they're...
Well, of course I'm going to like juice the algorithm, Susan. I'm no dummy.
Okay, we're going to do some rapid fire questions.
Okay, here we go.
Who's funnier, you or your husband?
I think me, but he's really funny.
I assumed he would be.
He's super funny. He's more like charming funny.
Oh.
In like conversation.
Okay.
And I think I'm more like, I'll just say out of left field things funny, if that makes sense. Okay. I make people feel uncomfortable funny. And he's like, oh, I like that guy funny.
Okay.
Which is probably better.
I love it. Okay, coupling on that. Who is your favorite comedian?
Too many to even list. I will watch anything Amy Poehler's in. I will watch anything Tina Fey writes or anything she's in. I'm a huge fan of Kate McKinnon. I think anything she touches is super, super amazing. I think Conan is the most like classically funny. He's been funny for like 30 years. Funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could really list a million, but those are like my first. I love them all so much.
Okay. Love it. Which of your kids is the funniest?
Oh, great question. One of my girls. I have one boy and 2 girls. Kate's really funny. Kate's my middle. And Lucy is like hammy funny. Like I'll like check the mirror in the car and she'll just be like making faces to herself.
Okay.
She's just kind of goofy. But then Kate is like she was an insane toddler. Like a crazy, like she's funny without knowing it.
Unintentionally funny. They're my favorite kind of people.
Yeah. So Kate's like funny without knowing it. And Lucy is intentionally trying to make you laugh.
My son is unintentionally funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best.
He just will say stuff and I'm like, oh, that's the funniest thing ever.
I'll tell a quick Kate story if that's okay.
Yes, I would love it.
I'm messing with this.
It's okay.
Timeline.
It's loosely rapid fire.
My favorite Kate story, I always say if I ever do stand up, this is going to be like my closer story.
Okay.
Recently potty trained. She's like 2. Kate's super smart. She's a year ahead in school. Sharp girl. Anyway, she potty trained really early. We're in Target for the first time in undies. It's a little nerve-wracking.
And for all you moms out there, you know.
You understand.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, our first outing, let's see what happens.
The bathroom? Anyway. How far are we from the bathroom?
And again, she's only 2, but she speaks really well. She's just smart. And we're walking by the toy aisle. Of course, she sees a toy. She wants it. I say no. And she like, I can tell she's about to like scream and have a tantrum. And she takes a deep breath and she looks me in the eye and she says, buy me that toy or I'll poop my pants.
Have you ever been more proud?
This is a 2-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And I just like, I like cover, of course I start to laugh and I'm like covering my face because I don't want her to see me laughing. And I think I just like took her out of the cart and I left. I was like, I don't even know what to do. I got to neutralize the threat.
You didn't buy her the toy.
We don't negotiate with terrorists, Susan. We don't. I didn't buy it, but I was very proud. I think once I was like, holy cow, did that just happen? Like in the car, I was like, dang girl, way to negotiate.
Hattie was in the, she's good. 2 is good. That's amazing.
I mean, she's an evil genius.
Hattie was in the Spanish immersion program. She was not great at it.
Okay.
Not at all. Some kids get it. Some kids don't.
I could never.
I could never. And she was like getting her homework done so quick. She's like, oh, I did it on the way home. I did it on the way home. And I'm like, okay, you walk home. How is this happening?
Okay.
Then she got cagey about her backpack. So I open her backpack. She has her and Maria's papers, the English homework she's doing.
Okay.
Maria's doing the Spanish homework.
Stop. She's so smart.
So smart.
Outsource, baby.
Exactly. I've never been more proud.
I know. It's like, look at you just like hustling and getting it done.
As like a mom who you're fighting for, you like, this is like, right. Yeah, you're going to do my work for me 100%, you know? So I love a smart little girl.
That. I know.
Kate's so that's going places.
So like, she's funny without like meaning to be. That's just kind of who she is. It's like, oh my gosh, you're so funny and so smart.
I would say when they're cute and when they're funny, you can negotiate with them. I would have bought her the toy.
That's good advice. She's 8 now, and she's calmed down quite a bit as far as the threatening negotiations go.
Is she still good at negotiating?
Oh, of course. She's so good.
Yeah. There's this really good book you should buy her.
Okay.
It's called Getting More. He actually, it's a I don't remember where he teaches. I don't remember, but it's a negotiating book.
Oh, awesome.
And
she's going to nail it.
He needs to make a children's book of it.
That's a really great idea because kids negotiate constantly.
Yes.
Did you ever watch the mastermind class from that former FBI agent on negotiation?
No.
It's one of my favorites. It's really great. Okay. It's a fun listen.
Let's look it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite Studio C cast member?
Oh, too hard to pick.
You have to.
I have to?
You have to.
I'm going to say Stacy because I see him the most.
Oh, he's the best.
He is the best. Everybody knows Stacy. And
how are his plants doing right now?
His plants are out of control, Susan. I am concerned.
Yeah, he's a real plant guy.
Every time he lives right around the corner from me, we live near each other. And every time I stop by, there's 10 more plants. I think we're at we're getting close to 200 plants in that house.
Okay.
It's like, should we be concerned?
Yeah. Do we need to schedule an intervention?
I don't even know what that would look like. Like maybe I think what I actually should probably do is just like slowly take plants out every time I leave.
So,
but then he'll find 10 more.
I like to just steal stuff from people's houses.
Oh, I know this.
If you know this about me.
Well, I've been following the sheep saga.
Yeah.
I'm very concerned
for you. The baby
for
Jesus saga.
Yeah,
I got 2 new baby Jesuses last night.
Incredible.
No one has more nativities than my friend Emily. So every time I go to her house, I'm like, I'm just
take the centerpiece of each one.
Yeah. And baby Jesus always goes missing. So this feels right. Yeah.
It's true.
But it is a fun thing to play with your friend is just steal stuff from their house.
I know.
You should do it.
You're right. We used to do there was this really terrible lawn ornament that somebody found at DI. And we used to try to sneak it in each other's lawns. And if you got caught, we'd have to do, but no one's ever gotten caught.
Oh, interesting.
That one's fun too.
Okay. I'll talk to you about ideas later.
Okay, great.
Okay. Do you stay in or you go out?
I might be 50-50 on this, but I'll say stay in. I like going out twice a month.
Okay. Summer or winter?
Winter.
Good. Okay.
Staying in the winter.
I love it. So cozy. Okay. This is the last question. It's truth or truth, kind of.
Okay.
I give you 3 categories. You pick one, then I ask you a question based on what you pick.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Girl boss, gatekeep, or gaslight. Pick one.
Girl boss, gatekeep, or gaslight?
Pick one. Then I'm going to ask you a question.
Girl boss.
Ooh. Have you ever girl boss too close to the sun?
Yeah, of course.
Can you think of an example?
Haven't we all? I remember when that audio was going around. I think all of us were like, oh yeah, that was me.
I've been there.
A girl boss too close to the sun, probably when we first started JK Studios, and I thought I knew what our business plan was. And I quickly learned this is not a viable business plan.
Were you guys losing money?
Yeah. And it was more just like we set up a brand deal in a way that wasn't great for the brand at the end of the day. And we learned a ton from it. And they were a really awesome brand and they helped us learn and they were very supportive. But it wasn't great. We had I remember we had just a really hard meeting after everything launched and they showed us all their numbers. We were like, oh, great. This wasn't good for you.
We tried.
And, marketing is always a gamble, but yeah, that was hard. Okay. I girl boss too close to the sun.
Okay. Have you ever girl boss too close to the sun in a funny way?
You're like, that's just sad. You lost money.
It is funny to lose money, actually. Let's laugh about it.
It is kind of funny. Everybody does it.
Well, you pay for your education somehow.
That's right. You're absolutely right. It was kind of like a master's degree.
Yeah.
Girl boss too close to the sun in a funny way. Probably just taking on too much work and not delegating in general. And that can be kind of, eventually it's this is ridiculous. I'm picking up lunch for everyone and getting the props and trying to memorize my lines and setting up the camera. It's okay, you should outsource. This is ridiculous.
Right.
So kind of more just okay, you're being insane. Kind of funny.
Yeah.
I just take on too much.
I do that too. I feel like as a mom, you kind of, my friend Marie, she's an incredible entrepreneur. She runs these huge companies and she has the same investors as me. And they were telling us all that she does. And then at the end, they're like, and she's PTA president at her kid's school.
Of course she is.
I was like, that's actually the most impressive thing you do there.
Yeah.
Everything else is cool, but that's impressive. And I was like, how did that end up? She goes, no one would do it.
No one would do it. And so I'll just do it. Yeah. That's my Achilles heel for sure. It's well, if no one's going to do it, I guess I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I'm definitely that person within our group.
I love it. Natalie, thanks for coming on.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for having me.
You're the best.
This was the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.